So glad you could join us here tonight for Game 1 of this 4-game series inside Minute Maid Park in downtown Houston, Texas. Mariners and the Astros meeting for the second time this year, the first time in the Lone Star State, as both these teams meet tonight, playing pretty good baseball. The Mariners, of course, coming off of their first sweep of at least 3 games in Arlington, Texas since 2002. Meanwhile, for the hometown Astros, my goodness, they have won 10 of their last 11 games. They are the hottest team in baseball right now, not just in the American League, but in all of the majors together. And Mike, with that in mind, how about a look at tonight's Mariners lineup?
All right, thank you, Aaron. Tonight's starting lineups are brought to you by Chevron. Leading things off, looks a little bit different. Seth Smith normally hits second. He will lead off tonight. Austin Jackson hitting second. Then it's Cano, Cruz, Kyle Seager, a .444 average against Scott Feldman. He will hit fifth in the lineup. Morrison coming off of his 4 hits in last night's ball game is going to hit sixth, and it's Miller, Ackley, and Zunino rounding out the 9 for the Mariners. Scott Feldman, the veteran right-hander. Fastball will be low 90s. Mix in a cutter and a slider. Also a changeup occasionally. But you can see a 4.81 ERA for him so far in 24 1/3. He's got 14 strikeouts. He's only walked 3 batters. Opponent's hitting .271. He has given up 5 home runs. A lot of home runs here early in the season. And we'll take a look at the defense for the Astros, brought to you by American Family Insurance. Grossman in left field, Marisnik the center fielder, and Springer out in right. Valbuena, the former Mariner, at third base. Gonzalez and Altuve playing up the middle. Chris Carter, the first baseman, and Jason Castro will do the catching. Take a look at what Feldman did in his last outing against the Athletics. 6 2/3, only 5 hits. He gave up 3 runs, all of them earned. Only walked 2 batters, 6 strikeouts. He threw 108 pitches. Look for a lot of cut fastballs from Feldman. He used to be just a sinker slider. Threw a little bit harder in the old days, but now more cutters from him.
And it seems like, Mike, from some of the people you've talked to around the ballpark today, we'll have a decent idea pretty early on if that cutter is working or not.
Well, they said sometimes it gets a little bit flat, and that's when he's going to be in trouble. They like to see it have a little bit bigger break and a downward tilt to it. If he's able to do that, you'll see a lot of ground ball outs.
Feldman, because of his time with the Rangers, a little bit of a familiar opponent for the Mariners. But that being said, he has not seen the Mariners in some time, since August of 2013. In fact, this is his first start against Seattle as an Astro. That last start came as a member of the Baltimore Orioles. So he's on here to face Seth Smith to begin tonight's game. Got a first pitch to Smith, a strike. Feldman, 32 years old, now in his 11th big league season. It's his second with the Astros. Spent some time with the Cubs as well. Baltimore 2. And quickly up 0-2 on Seth Smith.
That looked like it was the high cutter, a little bit flat, able to get to the inner third of the plate. The Astros immediately put the shift on with Smith hitting, so everybody swung around to the right side of the infield. Marisnik, the center fielder, shading towards left center.
Feldman certainly working from the first base side of the rubber. And Mike, it seems like when we see teams shift so often, the infield will wheel in a separate direction as the outfield. What's the rationale behind that?
Well, what they're basically saying is when he hits it on the ground, he's going to pull it, and they typically try to pitch him that way. But the ball in the air, if he gets jammed, and usually the left fielder and the right fielder are almost playing straight up. It's the center fielder that moves around more, and they expect him to hit the ball the other way in the air. And it basically comes down to their scouting reports and their numbers. And I think what it is, Aaron, is if we saw the high fastball earlier for Smith, he's probably going to be a little bit late on that. That's the reason why they shade towards left center. Everything down on the ground, which is where they typically want to pitch. They're going to see him hit the ball on the ground. And that right there was a ball up in the zone. He just didn't hit it in the air, jammed him, but he picks up a base hit. So taking advantage of the shift.
Nice work there by Smith to lead things off. That brings in Austin Jackson.
It was the high cut fastball, it looks like, and they expected him to hit this ball in the air. That's why they were shading the other way in the outfield, but instead gets in there pretty good, and he ends up hitting it on the ground, and there was nobody on the left side of the infield. So an easy base hit for Smith.
Leadoff man reaches. We've seen Austin Jackson and Seth Smith kind of ping pong back and forth at times this season at the top of the order. Feldman last season allowed more stolen bases than any other pitcher in baseball. And during spring training this year in Kissimmee, Florida, the Astros really worked with Feldman to try to adapt his delivery in a way that made him faster, quicker to home plate, but the result was it kind of ended up throwing his mechanics a little bit out of whack. And so the result seems to be that he's going to stick with what he was doing last season. He just feels more comfortable with it. And if runners run, well, then so be it.
I've been around pitchers, Aaron, that have been that way. They either try to slide step or do something different, rush their motion, their mechanics get out of whack. And managers typically want them to concentrate on the hitter. If they can't do it effectively, then why do it? And it sounds like that's where Feldman is at.
Makes sense. The 0-2 just gets a piece. Count stays put. Now, we've talked a little bit about the pitching for the Astros being the biggest difference. And you can talk all you want about the home runs for Houston so far this year, tied for the most in baseball, but really it has been the pitching. As a staff ERA just over 3.10, as A.J. Hinch, the first-year skipper for the Astros, has to be pretty pleased with what he has seen for both his bullpen and his rotation. A 3.11 earned run average, the third best in baseball. This gets up and away, and Smith easily can take second base.
See Castro moving his arm around. When you have to reach back as he did, sometimes you can hurt your rotator cuff. Fastball wasn't anywhere close to home plate.
Castro, an all-star for the Astros a couple of seasons ago, although he never had a chance to actually play in the game. That happens. Happened to Masashi Iwakuma. Backhand stab there. Gonzalez, long throw, and it's not in time. First two men reaching for the Mariners tonight.
Austin Jackson out in front of a curveball. It's a slow curveball, borderline on the corner, too close to take, and he puts it in play. Long throw for Gonzalez, the shortstop, and you can see he clearly beats it for an infield hit. So a good start for the Mariners.
It's good to see. Smith has to stay put at second. So Jackson aboard at first base, and a nice chance for Robinson Cano to snap out of an 0 for 18 skid. Taking strike one.
And you can see he's had success against Feldman. 6 for 19 for a 3.16 average.
RBI chance here early tonight for Cano. Chopper opposite way. Gonzalez a belly flop. All he can do is stop it, and with that the Mariners have him loaded right out of the gates. So back-to-back infield singles.
And more importantly, Cano ends up snapping that 0 for 18, getting this infield base hit. So Feldman, who wants them to hit the ball on the ground, has been able to do it. On our pregame show, we talked about the loss of Lowry and what that meant to this club. You see Gonzalez a couple of plays at short, not able to make them. Mariners bases loaded and nobody out.
Now this is, if you're Scott Feldman, this is when you have nightmares. Bags packed, nobody out early on, and you face the man with 10 home runs. Tied for the most in baseball with Hanley Ramirez. Up the middle, Gonzalez. Altuve to first, the double play, but the Mariners grab a run. And they lead 1-0. So Smith scores from third. Jackson survives. He's at third base.
Well, 4 ground balls for the Mariners, and this one unfortunately goes right to the shortstop. Gonzalez is an easy double play for him. Mariners will pick up a run. No RBI for Cruz.
So Cruz stuck on 22. That is also tied with Hanley Ramirez of the Red Sox for the most in the game.
And the Astros will shift with Kyle Seager hitting. Kyle hitting .444 off of Feldman, 4 for 9. Slow curveball for a strike.
The Mariners never trailed in that 3-game series in Arlington. Never trailed at any point during that sweep of the Rangers, where Fernando Rodney picked up the save each and every night. They start off tonight with an early lead.
Which, hearing you say that, one of the things that we probably should talk about, we haven't because the starters were so good in that series, but the Mariners relievers did not give up a run in that series, and that was the difference of them sweeping them.
That's a very good point. The bullpen 6 2/3 scoreless, and they did not give up an extra base hit. Now, we mentioned that they are shifting for Seager, which has been a bit of a trend, as you can see here.
He's starting to spray the ball around a little bit more, though. You would expect to see the hits to right field and center, but he has 4 hits to left field, and I know that Kyle is aware of the shift, and he'll pick his spots to try to take advantage of it.
Jackson at third base. And a borderline pitch there to make it 2-2.
That's the cut fastball. It starts it off the plate and barely gets the outside corner. Borderline pitch.
Two outs. Mariners looking to put up a crooked number early on here tonight. Game 1 of 4. The opposite way, dropping in for a base hit. Seager at RBI. Jackson touches home, and it's 2-0 early on here tonight. Jackson, who reached on the infield single, comes around to score. High fives all around.
Well, this is really good hitting from Kyle. It's the slow curveball. You can see how early his foot gets down, but he's able to keep his hands back long enough and serve it into left field. Solid line drive base hit. Clutch 2-out hit for the Mariners to pick up the second run.
Seager's 12th run batted in on the season. That brings in Logan Morrison. You can see good numbers continue for Seager against Feldman. What a night it was last night for Lomo. 4-hit game. That was his 4th career 4-hit effort and his 2nd in a Mariners uniform. He picked up 4 hits last June against the Red Sox at Safeco Field when he homered twice. But hopefully a sign of things really turning around in the direction, Mike, that we know that Lomo can really be headed in.
Well, one of the things that I look for after somebody has a night like Logan did last night, getting the 4 hits, he obviously feels much better about himself, but you have to keep that momentum moving forward, and you'd like to see how it goes tonight. If he could check in with another base hit, you start to build something off of that great outing that he had yesterday. And we talk about it with pitchers all the time. It can be the same thing for hitters. Get the confidence going and start square the ball up again. But I'd like to see him check in with a base hit and just to keep the momentum of that moving forward.
A ball and a strike. The opposite way with some hang time. Grossman doesn't have to move far. And that'll do it for the Mariners in the top of the first. They sent 6 to the plate. They scored twice. And through 1/2 inning, the Mariners have an early 2-0 lead for James Paxton. James Paxton making his 5th start of the season. It's his first ever time pitching here in Houston. In fact, a little surprising, his first ever start against the Houston Astros. If only Taijuan Walker could say the same thing. We'll see Taijuan in Game 3. He's seen the Astros more than almost anyone, it seems like. And Mike, how about a look at the Astros lineup?
For new manager A.J. Hinch leading off. Jose Altuve, there you see a .355 average, an 8-game hitting streak, .436 over that streak with a home run and 11 RBIs. He's also tied for the club lead in stolen bases. Then it's Valbuena and Springer, Gaddis, Carter, Castro, the first 6 in the lineup. Marisnik off to a good start, hitting .389. He will bat 7th. Gonzalez and Grossman rounding out the 9 for the Astros. For Paxton on the year, this will be his 5th start ERA at a 6.86. Trying to work on that. But 19 strikeouts and 19 2/3. That's a good number for him. Opponent's hitting .287 off of James with 4 home runs.
On to face Altuve. Almost a little surprising, Mike, to see Altuve not swing at the first pitch. That seems to be his MO.
Well, we'll see that throughout the series. It's a 4-game series, and he typically goes up there hacking. He is a good bad ball hitter.
Opposite way, a little looper. Austin Jackson, miscommunication there with Smith. Dropped right between them.
Take a look at the American Family Insurance defensive alignment. Ackley in left field, Jackson the center fielder, and Seth Smith in right. Seager and Miller on the left side, Cano and Morrison on the right side of the infield, and Mike Zunino will do the catching. Let's take a look at that last play. It looked as if either outfielder could have made the catch. I couldn't tell if Austin Jackson was calling Seth Smith off, the center fielder. If he calls it, you're supposed to give way to him, but it was hard to tell what happened on that play.
Now, Mike Zunino will have his work cut out for him in this series. The Astros right now, 28 stolen bases in this young season. That's the most in baseball. And Altuve stole more bases than anyone last year in the American League. So we know that he can take off.
Well, I think it puts a lot of pressure on the pitcher, too. I think he has to work hard to hold the runner over there. We know about the Astros, they strike out a lot, but they also hit a lot of home runs, and you have to stay out of the middle of the play. Sometimes you lose concentration on the hitter because you're worried about that base runner, and you throw some pitches in there that are a little bit fat, and they can hurt you in a hurry.
1 ball and 1 strike to Valbuena, who has really cooled down a little bit. Valbuena homered twice in 1 game in the Mariners series against the Astros back at Safeco Field to begin the season. 2-1. As you look at the stolen base leaders so far this year in the American League, of course, Billy Hamilton with 13 leading all of baseball, but 3 of the top 4 base stealers, all tied with 8 apiece, are on this Astros team, and one of them is at first base right now. Paxton falls behind. Springer on deck. Yet to really hit his stride so far this year. There goes Altuve, a strike, throw to second. Miller, tag not down in time. Altuve his 9th steal. Now earlier today, Lloyd McClendon gave us a little insight as to how to prevent what we just saw there, a stolen base.
Keep them off base. They can't steal first base, so if you can keep them off the base path and get those little rabbits out, then you're okay.
Next pitch misses. Now, Mike, you don't suppose when he says little rabbits he's talking about Altuve, do you?
I think he's talking about just about this entire lineup. It's an athletic lineup, and he's absolutely right. And it's that's one of the keys that you talk about in this series. I think there's a couple of things. You cannot make defensive mistakes, and you cannot walk them. And so far, we've seen 2 of them to start this game because of their ability to run, and they can also hit the 3-run homer. So you're going to have to make them beat you. They're on, and everything's going their way right now. They're hot, and when a team is hot, you can't help them out.
Astros have won 6 in a row. They've won 10 of their last 11. The season did not start off on quite such a high note for the Astros. They lost 5 of their first 8. In fact, the Astros were nearly no hits in the first series of the year against the Indians until Jed Lowry homered with 1 out of the 9th inning. It was a combined no-hitter, or would have been, by the Indians. The 0-1 to Springer. You can see the numbers the last 11 games for the Astros, and these numbers, Mike, are a world of difference from what they were the first 10 games of the season.
Well, you look at the on-base and slugging percentages and what they've hit with runners in scoring position, almost 280. That is a big number, especially when you consider how much they strike out.
Ball and 2 strikes to Springer. Their batting average the last 11 or so games when they've won 10 is raised 60 points from their early season struggles. And runners in scoring position has been a huge improvement for the Astros as well. They've buoyed that number by about 130 points. So everything, as Mike said, going the way of the Astros.
And I don't know that you can sustain that type of success striking out as much as they have. So we'll see.
Even A.J. Hinch, the first-year manager for the Astros, described in his words their offense as interesting. Check swing, appeal, does not go. That's Larry Vanover, the first base umpire and crew chief.
Well, let's take a look at it. Looks like he tries to bury a breaking ball. And Larry said that he did not go. I think Lloyd would disagree. He's letting the home plate umpire, Vic Carapaza, hear about it right now. And Larry Vanover is walking over. One of the things that we know about Lloyd McClendon is he will fight for his players, and Paxton a little bit of trouble. He thought it was a swing.
Weak chopper, tough play. Seager with the glove in time.
Well, Kyle helps him out with some excellent defense right here. He's one of the best in the game at this play. So many times you see guys try to barehand that ball and they'll miss it. Kyle, using his glove, is still able to get rid of it quickly and makes an accurate throw. There's a certain amount of timing to that play, and Kyle is really good at it. You want to be able to field it and throw off your right foot as quickly as possible.
Now it's up to Evan Gattis with one out and runners in scoring position. That's something that Chris Woodward has said a number of times about Kyle Seager, the Mariners infield coach and first base coach. Woody has said, listen, I've never seen anybody have as accurate of an arm to first base as Kyle Seager, no matter what way his body is leaning.
I would agree, and I think the other part about it too is how quickly he gets rid of the ball, and I think that comes from the years of turning too, as a second baseman has helped him with that.
Little cross training.
Mariners, of course, with a 2-run lead, will play their infield back with 1 out, so they will give up a run for an out.
Mariners grabbing 2 runs early on in the first inning. Cano lets the run score. 2 outs, but a run in for the Astros, and they're within 1. And Mike, you were talking about early on in the game why they would play the infield back as opposed to in. Why does it dictate the stage of the game, early or late, to do that?
That's a good point, early and late. If it was later in the game, you would still do that because obviously you have a 2-run lead. But I think early in the game, you want to stay away from the big inning. You have a lead, just try to stay away from the big inning, get an out, and move on. Right now, if Paxton can retire Carter, you still have the lead. But more importantly, you just want to stay away from the big inning. And by pulling your infield in, you open up a lot of holes for ground balls to work their way through, and then all of a sudden you have a big mess out there. So I think it's important early on. And Lloyd, because the club scored a couple of runs, was able to keep that infield back and stay out of the big inning.
Count levels out to Chris Carter. Carter has really struggled with strikeouts, as you can see where he ranks among the American League top 3 swingers. Clobbered, though. This is the hard part about Chris Carter, but enough space there in left field. Ackley back towards the corner, and that'll do it for the Astros. They score a run, they strand a man, and through 1 inning, the Mariners still hold a 1-run lead. At our CenturyLink, what's next in this 4-game series? As you can see, Elias going tomorrow night, then Taijuan Walker and Jay Happ. It has been to be announced for the Astros, but A.J. Hinch answered that question a little bit earlier today. Samuel Deduno, a right-hander, will go tomorrow, so we will see 3 right-handed starters for the Astros. Hinch went on to say that Deduno is in the bullpen tonight.
Yes, if he doesn't get in the game tonight, he will be the starter tomorrow. So I suspect that. And if that being said, I don't think he will use him if he can help it. Try to run him out there for the start tomorrow.
So the only way that he would pitch tonight is if this game got awfully crazy, 15, 16 innings, something like that. So
we've seen those before.
Cross your fingers. Miller leading things off in the second. It was interesting, Mike, talking with Brad today and really remembering that there was a time in Brad's young career where he was leading off for this team, and now you look where he is hitting, but maybe more importantly who he is hitting behind. Veteran hitters like Morrison, Seager, Cruz, Cano, of course, Jackson before that, and how that has changed things a little bit for Brad Miller. And his comment was, listen, it doesn't exactly change my approach so much, but what it does do is it changes the amount of pressure that it's being put on the defense. And he cited the number of times that he has come up to the plate with the infield drawn in, with the runners on base, and that even if there aren't runners on base, if he gets on, now he's got some big sticks coming up behind him. And he gets on here with a 4-pitch walk.
Well, I think that he can do a number of things for you offensively, and that's the reason why Lloyd has put him in a position to drive in some runs hitting in that 7th spot. There's a lot of RBIs that you can get in that spot, and with Brad's ability to drive the run and off to a good start, comes into the game hitting .281 with a homer and 7 RBIs. Why not take advantage of that?
You figure this is only Miller's 2nd April in the big leagues. Scuffled last April mightily, so a world of difference. Entering tonight batting just over .280.
And Brad has the ability to steal a base, and you were talking about Feldman earlier. I watched him on the first pitch. That's a big leg kick. I think there's some time there. Brad can get a decent jump to steal second if he wants to.
Miller 3 steals and 4 tries so far this season. But those stirrups go fast. The 0-1 to Ackley. Bounces far away from Castro. This is the second wild pitch we've seen tonight. Miller a wide turn, but holds up.
It was a wild pitch with Seth Smith, and Mariners able to take advantage of it. Seth scoring the first run. As you take a look at this breaking ball, not sure if that hit the plate or not.
Feldman had just 1 wild pitch over his first 4 starts, but 2 in as many innings so far tonight. So a ball and a strike to Ackley, who had the better part of the Rangers series off. The term that gets thrown out a lot, Mike, is Castro wants to have a talk with Feldman. When a player who is struggling a little bit and will have maybe a game or 2 or maybe even 3 off, is they'll say, well, he needs to clear his mind. But as a number of managers and hitting coaches have said in the past, you might be able to say clearing your mind, but that doesn't mean you're not working hard each and every day. A lot of work has gone on with Hojo.
You probably put in more work, but the nice thing about it is because they will tell him. They let Dustin know you talked about Brad. Brad was called in last year. Some people look at it as a benching. It's really not. It's an opportunity to get in even more work. And in the back of your mind, you know you don't have the pressure of the game coming your way, so it frees you up. And I think that you do that from time to time with players, and I think it's helpful.
Castro's play, Ackley out.
And a good play by Brad Miller. Excellent base running from Brad to make his way over to third.
Well, here's an easy way for you to step up your hat game and take in a Mariners game. Join us at Safeco Field on Friday, May 15th, as the Mariners meet the Boston Red Sox. The first 20,000 fans receive this great-looking Mariners fedora. For tickets, visit mariners.com. Who knows where Hanley Ramirez will be? Home run race with early on, of course, with Nelson Cruz.
On that play, what Brad did so well was a little chopper out in front of the plate, so he couldn't take off for third right away because the ball was too close to Castro, the catcher. He probably would have been thrown out. And what he did is he waited for Castro to start his throw to first base and then go back to second. He held his ground, let Castro make a decision on what he was going to do, and then he was able to get to third easily. Good base running.
Nice. Good to see that.
So many times you see the runner go back to the base that they were at, and by then it's too late to turn around and take the next base. And with one out, the Astros will play their infield back. The only one up is Carter, the first baseman.
We have heard Lloyd say that on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most important, base running and defense are at 11. That's how much value and emphasis he places on base running.
Well, if you think about it, you can steal some runs. You can pick up a run right here because Brad ran the bases the correct way without a base hit. Over the course of the summer, those add up. And if you think about defense, that'll certainly help your pitcher with his pitch count. We've already talked about that.
No contact play here. And he beat it out. Infield single, Mike Zunino. How many times do you think you'd say that? Good hustle by Zunino.
Well, we've talked about it with Mike. He's a good athlete. He hits this ground ball. I was a little bit surprised that Brad didn't try to score on the play, and the hesitation by Valbuena cost him and ended up picking up a base hit for Mike.
The Astros really like Valbuena at third base. They think that, of course, they like him at the plate maybe more than anything else, but they think that he is a more than capable third baseman. We saw him play just fine in that brief series back at Safeco Field. Matt Dominguez is the name and the face that we're used to seeing out of third base for the Astros the last couple of years, but Dominguez beginning the season in AAA, scuffling there. Does not look like we'll see Dominguez back in the big leagues at least anytime particularly soon, although a very fine defensive third baseman.
And the Astros have the shift on again with Smith hitting. Seth's first at bat, he was jammed on a cut fastball, picked up a base hit.
Here comes Miller. Throw to second, on to first, and it's in time for the double play. Mariners leave a man at third base. And that'll be all she wrote in the second. We go to the home half. Mariners still lead it by a run. Park all that often and have the roof open, so a little bit of a treat.
I thought the weather here was perfect today, probably about as good as we're going to see, and it should be this way the entire series. Maybe Sunday because it's a day game they might close it, but it's nice to have the roof open.
You come to town much past, well, the early part of May, and that roof will probably be closed. Castro reaches. So Castro continuing with a trend early on tonight. All 4 leadoff hitters have reached 2 on each side. It was Altuve to begin things in the bottom of the first against Paxton with a single. He came around to score on a ground out by Gaddis. That brings in Jake Marisnick. Marisnick came over in the Jared Kozart deal with the Marlins. Big man showing bunt. He can run well. Paxton, no play.
Just a perfect bunt. He does it the right way. He pushes it towards first because of the left-handed pitcher Paxton. Most of the time left-handers will fall off towards the third base side. They have to change their momentum to get to it, but just a perfect bunt from a speedy Marisnick as he picks up a base hit, and the Mariners in trouble here in the second inning.
So that is the 4th infield hit we have seen tonight on both sides combined. Brings in Marwin Gonzalez.
And Kyle Seager will play even with the bag at third, expecting the bunt. Morrison also playing up first.
Ball 1. You can expect to see plenty of Gonzalez in the coming months with Jed Lowry getting surgery tomorrow on his thumb. He injured that sliding into second base. Lowry, a big free agent signing by the Astros, which is saying something from their history in recent years. But he will be out until after the All-Star break. That's a huge loss. And Lowry maybe isn't known as an elite defensive shortstop, but we know one thing, Mike, at least against the Mariners, he is one of the best hitters against the Mariners that we've seen, well, really since he's been with the Oakland A's before coming over to the Astros.
No, he has definitely been tough on the Mariners offensively, and I think that the main thing that he was bringing to them on the defensive side of things is consistency, and you know the routine play late in the ball game, he's going to make the play, and for a young club that is valuable. So we're going to see, we talked about they're 3rd in defense right now, and we'll see if it stays that way with this young club.
It's been pitching and defense, the home run ball, and some steals for the Astros. They're in first place, 14 wins, 7 losses. 4-game cushion over the Angels and the Mariners, tied for second. Castro at second base. Marisnick on at first. 2-2. Gonzalez ready. And a full count. One thing we saw, Mike, in Paxton's last start, 7 strikeouts, and a lot of those came on the curveball. He was getting plenty of swings and misses. Have we seen the curveball quite as much early on tonight?
I don't think so, because typically he will try to throw the curveball and he wants to bounce it to get the swing and miss.
Chopper, backhand stab, Miller off his heels. Cano on at first base in time for the double play. 2 outs, Castro at third base now.
I know when I spoke to Rick Waite about Paxton and what he wanted to see from him today, and he wanted to see the curveball a little bit more. This looks like a cut fastball, able to get the ground ball. A good play by Miller to get rid of it quickly, and Cano will finish it off. But he wanted to see him throw his curveball, Aaron, for more strikes early in counts. Throw for a strike early in the count, and then when you're ahead, you can bury it. And I think against the Astros, that's a good plan because they basically are cripple hitters. They're young hitters. They like to hit the fastball. They can hit anybody's fastball, especially in 2-0, 3-1, 3-2 counts. So you want to stay out of those counts.
Here's Robbie Grossman, the number 9 hitter, a switch hitter. Around late and quickly behind 0-2. Paxton making his 5th start of the season, 26 years old, out of Ladner, British Columbia. Last time out against the Twins, allowed just 1 earned run. Did not get past the 5th, though.
And there's the curveball you were talking about, Aaron, bouncing that one.
And whether it's Felix's changeup last night, Paxton's curve, the splitter from Iwakuma, and then you can name any guy in the bullpen, it's when Mike Zunino really is put to work. Awfully active behind home. Strike three called. He gets him. Curveball at 79 miles an hour. That's a nasty hook from James Paxton, who collects strikeout number 1 tonight, and that puts a close on the second inning. Mariners lead it 2-1. Texas, the first time the Mariners are making the trip here to Minute Maid Park on the season. Second series between these two ball clubs. Austin Jackson leading things off. A running bunt, third base side, bare hand Valbuena, and Austin Jackson is safe.
The Mariners testing the Astros a little bit on defense today. Good idea with the leadoff bunt from Jackson. An easy base hit, and they were fortunate the ball actually ended up getting past Carter and it hit Jackson in the heel of his shoe. Otherwise, it ended up down the right field line. So a break for the Astros on that base hit from Jackson.
We've now seen 5 hitters combine on both sides reach on either bunt singles or infield hits, and every leadoff man has reached so far tonight. For the Mariners, that's been Smith, Miller, and now Jackson.
And Cano with a base hit his first time up.
That was an infield single. Keeping an eye there on Jackson. Austin with 2 steals and 3 tries so far this year.
Let's go.
Feldman's been around for a long time and has been in this division for many, many years. Of course, a long stay with the Rangers. Has pitched in relief, has pitched in the rotation as well. And Mike, you mentioned that he throws that cut fastball. We see some pitchers who throw the cutter, and save for a righty like Feldman, they might have a hard time pitching it inside to a left-handed hitter, but that's not an issue for Feldman. He'll throw it to either side of the plate.
No, he will. We've seen that. That last pitch, he tried to get it in on the hands of Cano, didn't, left it in the middle of the plate, and when he leaves it up, as that last one was top of the strike zone, it flattens out a little bit, little easier pitch to handle as Jackson takes off with the pitch.
On throw, second base, Austin Jackson is out.
It was a little bit high. I thought maybe he was able to slide underneath the tag. Not much of an argument for Austin Jackson. The throw clearly beats him. Take a look, see if the tag was put on him early enough. I'm not so sure.
Right there on the hip, maybe?
Maybe. Hard to tell.
One out, base is now empty. The Mariners got 2 runs on 4 hits in the first. They left a man at third base in the second. Right in line with Gonzalez. The pick, the throw. 2 outs. Well, here's your chance to let the arrow fly on Saturday, May the 9th, when the Mariners host the A's. It is Fernando Rodney Bobblehead Night, presented by Root Sports, for the first 20,000 fans. Tickets available at Mariners.com. And Mike, speaking of Fernando Rodney, a save each of the last 3 nights, 7 total. And Rodney, you thought maybe last night he'd be pitching on fumes a little bit, but you never would have been able to tell.
No, he still topped out at 96 miles an hour, was able to pick up the save. I doubt that we'll see him tonight if it's a save opportunity.
Here comes Nelson Cruz. First pitch, curveball, strike. Lloyd said today from his office that it is, quote, highly unlikely that we will see Fernando Rodney. Has pitched 4 days straight. And when asked who would be the closer instead, it was a response of matchups, so it all depends on who's coming up, who fits best. Farquhar has closing experience, but pitched last night, although pitched very efficiently for the most part. Went 4 up, 4 down. The 0-2. Nelson Cruz hit not 1 but 2 batting practice home runs that completely left the ballpark late this afternoon. They found the street. Towards the gap in left center. Marisnik, a long way to go, but he's there to make the catch. A quick and tidy 9-pitch top of the third for Scott Feldman. He dances around a leadoff bunt single. We go to the bottom of the third. Mariners on top. The strikeout looking to Robbie Grossman. And Mike, how about you walk us through that sequence of pitches?
Well, I think that it's exactly what Rick Waits was talking about, him wanting to see. Here's the first pitch, breaking ball that he's able to throw for a strike. Good fastball. Then he bounces the curveball, something he likes to do when he gets 2 strikes. Wastes the fastball up high. and is able to put him away with the curveball again, throwing it for a strike. So that's a good sign for Paxton. It's what Rick Waite, the pitching coach, wanted to see out of him, able to execute it in that at bat.
That's good to see. First strikeout tonight for Paxton, as Altuve starts out 1-0. Seems like Altuve is always scalding hot when the Mariners see him. 8-game hitting streak. He has had multiple hits in 7 straight games. He's already got 1 tonight. Went 8 for 15 in that 3-game series, a sweep against the Padres on the road. Blocked left field, and another multi-hit game. Make it 8 in a row for Jose Altuve. Loses the helmet, and he stands up at second base.
Well, James tries to throw a fastball by him, tried to throw it on the inside corner, and ended up middle in and down 94 miles an hour. And Altuve, an aggressive hitter, we've been talking about that, and he is some kind of hot right now. Have to keep a close eye on him at second. He will try to steal third if you don't pay attention to him.
You know, Mike, Altuve is all of 5'6". Does his lack of height help him in any way in the batter's box?
I can't imagine why. No, I really can't.
Yeah.
I think he's just a great hitter. He's an aggressive hitter. He likes to swing at pitches. We've seen him, and the Mariners have tried just about everything with him, with a variety of different pitchers, and it doesn't seem to matter. And you were talking about, it seems like it for the Mariners. I think the rest of the league feels that way too.
That he gets hits all the time.
Well, the amount of hits that he's had, and we saw what his batting average was last year, and the things that he's already done. He's just a good player.
And now his 35 hits in April. That's the most in the American League. You can see Miller stands, what, Mike, about 6'2"?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
One ball and 1 strike to Valbuena. On the outside corner. Maybe a little off.
I think the other thing with Altuve, his ability to hit, so he obviously has great hand-eye coordination. He's fast, but I think his instincts to play this game are great. He just does a lot of different things defensively, and when he's on the base paths, really aware, and a good pitch from Paxton to put Valbuena away.
Now you can see the frustration. That's the curveball again.
We'll take a look at the last pitch, and the weak swing by Valbuena. Again, the Astros leading the league in strikeouts.
Second punch out tonight from James Paxton. First pitch Springer's way. Springer is from New Britain, Connecticut. Went to the University of Connecticut. That's where he played his college ball. He tells a great story about going to a New Britain Rockcats game. They are the longtime AA affiliate of the Minnesota Twins. And he was just a young boy at a minor league game with his dad, of course, playing Little League at the time. And he turned to his dad and he said, "Dad, I want to play like that guy." And he pointed out to the outfield, and he was pointing to a young Torrey Hunter, his favorite player, his idol in the game.
It's a good one to have.
2-1. Hunter now with the Twins after a stay with the Tigers. Angels before that. But Springer said he was able to meet Torrey Hunter a couple of years ago in spring training when he was with the Tigers. Hunter, that is, in Lakeland, Florida. Said he could barely utter a sentence to Torrey Hunter. He was so nervous. Ground ball right there to Cano. Looks at third instead to first. 2 outs. Well, we hope you stick around after the game for Mariners postgame presented by Delta Airlines. Mariners have the early lead here tonight, game 1 of 4. In steps Evan Gattis. So Altuve 90 feet from home, 2 outs. Gattis, of course, a catcher in the National League with the Braves, and with Hank Conger coming over this offseason in a trade with the Angels, Gaddis at this point is simply the emergency catcher for the Astros. He's played a little bit of left field. He played there in a National League Series against the Padres most recently. But his catching days, at least for the time being, have all but come to a close. Tying run at third. That's Altuve. Really got him fishing down low for it. The curveball has really come out to play in this inning, and a little bit last.
Well, I think so, and also his changeup. And you'll take a look at this breaking ball, 1-1 count, so he buries it in the dirt right in front of home plate. Great job by Zunino again to keep it in front of him with Altuve at third. Ball gets away from Mike at all. He's going to try to score.
Bounces it again. We talk about that big 12-6 curveball, Mike, from Paxton, but it has to look even more vicious just because of the arm angle of Paxton and how over the top he is.
Over the top, and he has enough velocity where you have to respect his fastball, so it becomes difficult to pick it up, I think, for hitters. There's a good fastball from James. 96 miles an hour. That's his best fastball so far in the game. And I think that he's doing the right thing right now. They're sticking to the game plan, and that is they're mixing things up to the hitters, especially the guys in the middle of the lineup that can hurt you. And we talked about the strikeouts with the Astros. If you're falling behind or you get into a pattern of throwing too many fastballs, they're going to catch up to one or two of them, and that can be the difference in the game. James right now is really mixing it up. Good changeup.
There it is. Nasty stuff from Paxton as he picks up his third strikeout tonight, his second here in the inning. And we go to the fourth. Mariners by a run. All right, so a full night on the television as Kyle Seager leads things off in the top of the fourth for the Mariners. Seager 1 for 1, an RBI single back in the first inning. First pitch strike from Feldman. And right there, Mike, we've been talking about the curveball a lot from James Paxton. We've seen Paxton's curveball 80-81. Feldman's right there 73 as you were talking about the velocity on James's curve.
Right. And I think at times with Feldman, he has a little more sweep to his. But James, he'll throw two of them, one that will sweep across, but the one he's trying to strike and bounce out, it is a true 12-6 and is going straight down. That is a tough pitch to square up.
The hammer curve. Seager out number one.
Take a look at Feldman. He's able to get a bare hand on this. Knocking it down.
Looks to be no worse for the wearer. So one out on two pitches, now facing Logan Morrison. And that is the first time the leadoff man for either side has not reached in this one tonight. Really, with as many leadoff men getting on base, almost a little surprising that it's just 2-1. Paxton stranded Altuve at third base back of the third inning to end things. The Astros have left 3 overall. The Mariners have left 2. One ball, 1 strike to Lomo. Flew out to left field to end the first. Mike, we've talked about Feldman's cutter. We're seeing him work from an extreme side of the mound. He's working from the first base side. Is there anything to do with his style of pitching, facing, in this case, the opposite side hitter? He's a righty facing a lefty, and the repertoire that he has.
He'll stay on that side, whether it's a left or right-handed. He's just basically trying to create angles, and sometimes pitchers that are just more comfortable in the ability to pitch to one side of the plate or the other from the side of the mound that they pitch from, and he clearly is on the extreme first base side.
It's a quick skimmer out to Altuve for routine out number 2. A couple of ground ball outs. Well, keep your eye on the bus. Follow us from a safe distance on Twitter at Sound Transit. Glad to have you with us tonight on a beautiful evening here from downtown Houston. Aaron Goldsmith, Mike Flowers, our entire route crew. 2 quick outs for Feldman and company, now facing Brad Miller. Brad walked his last time up, was left stranded at third base. Closing in on a really strong April for the Mariners shortstop. The 1-0 from Feldman, and it's 1-1. Ackley would be next if Miller can reach to extend this Mariners third inning. Ackley ground out his last time up. Miller ready for the 2-1 from Feldman. Little inside. Mariners entering tonight tied with the Angels, second place of the West. Meanwhile, the Astros have really taken off 14-7. And Miller walks for the second time tonight. Take a look once again at the American League West standings entering this one tonight. Angels and Mariners neck and neck. Angels will be without Albert Pujols, at least for the short term. Exited last night's game of the 6th inning with a tweak to his hamstring. But the Astros have surprised everyone so far this season, maybe not those in their own clubhouse. So a 2-out walk to Miller brings in Ackley. Opposite way, slicing in for a base hit. Grossman fields it, and the Mariners have 2 on with 2 out. Nice to see that from Dustin.
Well, aggressive hitting. That's when he's at his best. First pitch fastball in the outside corner. Not a bad pitch from Feldman as he hits it hard into left field. We'll take a look at the swing. It was a 2-seamer that time. He's throwing a lot of cutters, but that one he tried to run away from him, was able to get it there, and Dustin just going with it.
So the Mariners threatening here in the 4th inning. 2 outs, 2 on for Zunino. Some speed on the base paths. Mike, an infield single back in the second. That infield single snapped an 0 for 14 skid by Mike, who has played in every game so far this year. Even those that he hasn't started, he has come off the bench. Quick throw to second base. And that will be interesting to see how Lloyd manages that situation the rest of the season as this first month is coming to a close, Mike, because we know it's something that Lloyd is very sensitive to, that is giving Mike some days off, and he's been in situations where he's just needed him to come off the bench.
Well, I think that one of the things that he talked about in spring training was his workload last year, and he felt that he caught so much early that maybe it affected him in the second half a little bit. But he also followed that up with, but we had no other choice.
Yeah.
He was the best option that we had. And well, the one thing about Mike is he's a young man. He's strong. He stays healthy. He's rarely injured. But you're going to have to monitor that situation for him and give him some time off.
And to extend that point even further, not only was he the best that they had, and they do have, but last year the margin of error was razor thin for the Mariners the last 2 months. Every game counted as much, if not more, as the previous one for the Mariners last season.
And this is, you were talking about it a little bit earlier. This is a difficult pitching staff to catch. They all have pitches that they want to bury in the ground, and we've already seen it tonight with a runner at third a couple of times and breaking balls in the dirt, and Mike keeping everything in front of him. He's so valuable behind the plate that it's hard not to run him out there.
There's no question.
And then, of course, with 22 home runs, the potential for him to walk into one every now and then certainly helps too. So it's a difficult situation.
That's kind of along the lines of what Lloyd said today or yesterday about Kyle Seager and how tough it was sitting your Gold Glove All-Star third baseman in a ballpark where he's had an enormous track record of success. But as Lloyd said, you have to give him a spell every once in a while.
You have to, and that's basically what he was able to do with a couple of the guys in that series, and it worked out for the Mariners, winning all 3 games. And you hope that pays off as you work further down the road. So those are hard decisions to make.
2-2 now to Zunino.
Kyle did get in the game, though. It was a close game, and he went out there to play defense. Ended up getting one at bat in the game, but they put him back out there. So he had a half a day off.
2 on, 2 out for Zunino, and the 2-2. Hammered high towards the pole, left field, a lot of hook to it, and a foul ball.
That was just a hanging curveball on a 2-2 count. Mike out in front of it just a little bit, catches it off the end of the bat as he hooks this ball foul.
Zunino making Feldman work here. 7th pitch of the at-bat coming up. Longest battle Feldman's had so far tonight. And time called. Feldman has allowed 5 home runs in 4 starts this year. Time called once again. That said, Feldman allowed just 1 extra base hit his last start when he pitched into the 7th inning. That was against the Oakland A's. Stays at 2-2.
He's putting up a fight. This will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat.
We saw that really become a little bit of a trend for Zunino as that series in Texas went along. Some longer at bats through 2 walks last night.
Well, I think that the thing is you would like to see guys that are off to slow starts snap out of it quickly, Aaron, all of a sudden have, put together a good 3 or 4 games where they're getting 2 hits. It typically doesn't work that way. You basically baby step your way out of it. And for Mike, it looks to me as if he's starting to track the ball a little bit better. He's able to foul some pitches off that he was really struggling with earlier on, and you hope that he's getting closer with every day he gets a little bit closer. This will be the 9th pitch.
He's fouled 5 of them off. Comes up empty. Hits him with the curveball. And the throw to first completes things. So the Mariners strand 2 in scoring position to wrap up the top of the 4th. We go to the home half. Mariners have the lead. Rock wood-fired kitchen, pizza, burgers, spirits. By the Grand Puyallup RV Show, April 30th through May 3rd. And by BNSF Railway, sponsor of the BNSF Blast. Boy, an absolutely gorgeous night here in Houston. You can see the train. We've received conflicting reports over the years, Mike, as to whether or not the train works. It doesn't work. Is it stationary? We need to really track. And apparently it does work. We have seen it does work. It's already moved tonight, apparently. Well, we need to watch the train more, Mike. We saw Kendrys Morales hit a home run a couple of years ago that nearly took the caboose out. Carter leads things off at the bottom of the 4th. First pitch strike from Paxton. I'll tell you one thing we haven't seen in recent years is the conductor up there. Remember, they used to actually have somebody up there they put on the video board to kind of spark a rally.
Once again, pay attention. He's up there.
Is he still up there?
He's up there.
Got to watch the train more, Mike. Glad somebody's on it. Mike, you got a keen eye. Where do you get your insight? You don't just get scouting reports on the pitchers. Carter quickly disposed of. Boy, that's a vicious curveball that continues to come out to play tonight for Paxton.
And his fastball continues to get better, too. Take a look at that last pitch. That looked like a slider. And on the inside corner getting the strikeout, but it was because of the fastball. The fastball before that was 95 miles an hour to speed Carter up. Wasn't able to hold up on the breaking ball.
He's struck out 3 of the last 4 that he's faced. Castro, a foul ball hit a tongue. Castro singled back in the 2nd. We've talked a lot about Logan Morrison having some tough luck in the month of April, and for the Astros, they're saying the same thing about Castro. If you track line drive percentages, so really hard hit liners, Castro ranks in the top 10 in the American League, but entering tonight, he's batting 200 right on the nose. And he falls behind 1-2.
And another good fastball from Paxton, 95.
Looking for strikeout number 5. Castro fights it away, still 1-2. Mariners starters the last 4 games have been exceptional. If you go back to that start by Roenis Elias, his season debut for the Mariners, since that time, a 1.73 earned run average. They have walked as many as they've given up earned runs. That's 5 apiece, 24 punch outs. Full count to Castro.
He's really starting to get loose. 97 miles an hour off the plate away.
We saw Felix last night, a record-setting night. Elias there too as well. Gets him swinging. It has been that pitch each and every time, and now with that, Paxton settling in. He has struck out 5 of the last 7 Astros hitters that he's faced. Now, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Seattle Mariners and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of your Seattle Mariners. So 3 straight punch-outs dating back to the 3rd, 5 of the last 7. Now facing Marisnick, who dropped down a bunt base hit, the first pitch that he saw in the 2nd inning. One and one. We saw Taijuan Walker strike out 5 in a row, and it started not long ago. Paxton 3 straight. And he's got him against the ropes, 1 and 2. You can see Paxton is ready to go. He is not straying much at all from the slab. Marisnick fights it away right to the glove of Cano, who stabs it. A 1-2-3 inning spun by Paxton, his first clean frame of the night. We go to the 5th. Mariners 2, Astros 1. Game, we focus in on the 1st inning. Nelson Cruz putting the Mariners on the board first. No RBI, but a ground ball double play. That brings home Seth Smith, who led off with a single. Kyle Seager chipped in as well, an RBI single of his own. For Seager, his 12th RBI of the year, scored Austin Jackson. And then Evan Gattis, a ground out to Cano. That brought home Jose Altuve, who singled to lead off the 1st inning. So all 3 runs combined coming in the 1st. Paxton settling in. He's got now 5 strikeouts on the night. It seems like it's been the curve to be the finishing pitch almost each time, which is pretty reminiscent of his last start against the Twins when he struck out 7.
That was a dominant inning by Paxton. A number of his fastballs 95. He topped out at 97.
And this is something we've referenced before. His velocity continues to grow each and every night from the 1st to, say, the 4th.
Rick Waits referenced that today because I asked him about his velocity, and he thought that 1, the warm temperature here, but 2, him missing that time in spring training, he's just starting to catch up, and he said he expected to see more 95 plus from him tonight. We have.
Paxton having to miss some time with that forearm injury suffered before Cactus League games even began, but he was held out from game action in the springtime for some time. The only man you'll see wearing a coat on a night like this. First pitch temperature 80 degrees, but for good reason for James. Mike, was there ever a pitcher that you played with that actually wanted to talk to people
during
the yeah? No, none of them. Just the way they're wired.
Not that I can think of.
The 3-1 to Smith.
And speaking of pitching, Aaron, the last 4 or 5 days I've been watching Tom Wilhelmsen playing catch on flag ground. I talked to Rick Griffin today, the trainer for the Mariners, and he said that Tom's going to have his first bullpen tomorrow. He's going to throw 25 pitches in the bullpen, all fastballs. But he said he feels great, so everybody's excited to get him back up on the mound.
And that's terrific news. Lloyd said earlier today that there have been no setbacks in the process. As you can see, Rick Griffin there as a hyperextended elbow put Wilhelmsen on the DL in the middle of this month. Smith down on strikes. Second strikeout tonight from Feldman. 1 out. Well, the first girls' night out event of the year is set for Friday, May 8th, when the Mariners take on the Oakland A's. For just $35, you'll get a view or terrace club seat, a great-looking Mariners cap, and your first drink. Visit mariners.com/girls for tickets. 1 out, nobody on for Austin Jackson. We heard Lloyd last year talk about Paxton really being the glue of the rotation, and he said the same thing about Wilhelmsen in the bullpen because he held so many different roles for the Mariners.
Well, he could do everything for you because he's had experience in all those roles. He in fact had to start a couple of games last year and did a fine job. At one point he was the closer of the club. He certainly has pitched in the 8th inning. He can come in and get an out for you, or you can have him pitch 2-3 innings at a time. There aren't many guys that are capable of doing all of those things
and seem completely unfazed no matter what the role is.
Right. So it'll be good. There's Tom. It'll be good to get him back hopefully soon. I'm looking forward to seeing some good results on his bullpen tomorrow, and hopefully health-wise everything is going to go well for him.
Big rip and a miss on a curve, 2-2. Mike, you bring up the 2 spot starts that Tom had last season, and it was always fun watching Wilhelmsen run out from the bullpen before the first pitch, and he said, I want to treat it exactly like I would treat a relief outing, and he did.
And I thought that was smart. Just didn't want to change. Things were going well for him. He didn't want to change anything. Typically the starter in a game will get loose in the pen. He will walk back to the dugout, get a drink of water, put his jacket away, and then the entire team will come out to start the game. That's not the way Tom wanted to do it.
Made for a grand entrance. It was fun to watch.
I thought it was also smart.
Yeah, I was going to say it was more practical than anything. Full count to Jackson. 2 for 2 so far tonight. Gobbled up on a hop by Gonzalez. 2 outs. This time Jackson has been retired. As Feldman now faces Cano. It's been interesting to see how in recent history series between the Mariners and the Astros have played out. Since Houston joined the division, the Mariners have had a world of success here in this ballpark. 13-6. They've lost their last 2 games here in Houston dating back to last season, so the final 2 games against the Astros here at Minute Maid Park in 2014. And a big reason why Dallas Keuchel and Colin McHugh were the 2 starting pitchers in those 2 games. They had won 6 in a row before those 2 and 12 of the previous 14 before the 2 recent losses here in Houston. But overall, the Mariners have had a world of success in this park. Line drive over the leap of Altuve. And Cano, who came in tonight 0 for his last 18, has 2 hits now tonight.
Well, it's one of the things that Lloyd McClendon talks about all the time with Robinson Cano. He had an 0 for 13 earlier in the year, but for him, perennial 300 hitter, All that means is that when he starts getting his hits, they're going to come in bunches, and he's going to hurt some teams. So looks like he's worked his way out of it and back on the right track.
2 outs, a man on now for Nelson Cruz. So Nelly is already a quarter of the way to his home run total of 40 from a season ago. Cruz 10 home runs, 22 RBIs entering tonight. Brought a man home in the first, but was not given an RBI because of the double play. One and one. Nelson entering tonight 6 for his last 12 on a modest 3-game hitting streak. Reaches for it, and a tapper back to Feldman will end the top of the 5th. Cano left lonely at first base. The Mariners can't cash in with a 2-out single. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning in Houston. Mariners by a run. The T-Mobile game changer, and James Paxton Mike is really starting to settle in.
It really has, and it seems as this game has moved on. He has just gotten stronger. He's had a good curveball tonight. You see a couple of curveballs right there for the strikeout. Here's another one. Bearing him. Gaddis goes down. And then there's another one. They're all set up by the good fastball tonight. He's topped out at 97 miles an hour. Been consistently in the 95-mile-an-hour range. It's good to see from James.
Leads off facing Marwin Gonzalez here to begin the bottom of the 5th. Gonzalez, a double play victim his last time up. Seager, fair ball, strong throw, out number 1.
We'll take a look at it. Kyle doesn't wait for the umpire. He just gets rid of it quickly, throw it across the diamond. And the umpire calls it a fair ball.
Quick out to start the bottom of the 5th. Right back there, vacuumed up by Seager. 2 outs on 3 pitches.
Take another look at it. I think that was the cut fastball, giving him a workout down at third, but Kyle's able to handle it. As Aaron mentioned, 3 pitches. This next pitch will be 70 for James.
Well, to put that in context, Paxton, this was the exit point for Paxton in his last start at 4 2/3. So very economical tonight.
I thought that was interesting. Altuve just staring down Kyle Seager at third. Kyle playing back with 2 outs. He took a good hard look at it. Thought about maybe bunting. Took another peek right there.
Altuve now 8 consecutive multi-hit games. A single and a double tonight. He has a 9-game hitting streak overall intact. He's behind 1-2. Curveball low in the dirt. We've talked about the velocity on Paxton's curveball. Last year, only Donald Ventura, the fireballer of the Royals, had a higher average velocity on his curveball, and it was by a fraction of a mile per hour. Miller on a couple of hops, chest high, and a quick and tidy 1-2-3, bottom of the 5th inning. Only 8 pitches for the lefty out of Ladner, British Columbia. We go to the 6th. Mariners have the lead. We bring in Jason Bay, and Jason, we saw Feldman get into some hot water in a 2-run first inning, but he's really settled down since then. What are you seeing from the Astros starter?
Jason, is there a time, the other thing that he started to do too is he's throwing that slow curveball at 72, 74 miles an hour, and it seems that he's throwing it early in the count. Most of those pitches, unlike the cutter and the two-seamer, have ended up in the middle of the plate. Is there a time when you would go up there and just look for that slow curveball? I think the last thing for me, Jason, is just real quick, what do you think of James Paxton tonight and where he's at and how he's progressed to this point tonight?
J-Bay, we appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. Seager out at first base. Begin things in the top of the 6th. Carter was able to stay with it.
Kyle 1 for 3 tonight.
And the RBI single back in the first to make it 2-0. The Astros grabbed a run in their half of the first. And that's been it so far tonight as Logan Morrison digs in.
Well, Feldman, we talked about his cutter at the start of it, and we just heard Jason talking about it too. One of the things he wanted to do in this outing was keep the ball on the ground, and he has done a good job of that. A lot of ground ball outs for him tonight. And they'll keep the shift on with Logan Morrison hitting. There's the slow curveball missing with it.
And a rare time that he has not come home with the first pitch strike before Lomo dug in. 18 of 23 batters that Feldman had faced.
You can see he's right at 75% fastballs. There's the two-seamer. But Logan now with a good count. Hopefully he can get a good fastball that he can handle something in the middle of the plate. Maybe get him to elevate a pitch for him. He's done a good job keeping the ball down tonight. But Logan with 4 hits yesterday. He can get a pitch that he can hit in the seats right here. Something elevated out over the plate.
Took a big hack, strike one.
Pretty good pitch again. That was the cutter, down and in. Castro was set up away. A foul ball from Logan.
Morrison a fly ball out to left field in the first, a ground out to second, back of the fourth. Slicing the opposite way. Grossman gets there in plenty of time on a dead sprint. And Lomo with tough out number 2. Well, let's take a glance at the Mariners calendar, brought to you by Sleep Country USA. You can see we begin game 1 of this 4-game series in Houston. And then it's off to Anaheim for 3 before an off day. And then a nice homestand. Hope you can join us at Safeco Field. The A's in town for 3, then the natural rival, the San Diego Padres, for 2, and then the Red Sox coming to town. So tickets available at Mariners.com. 2 up, 2 down for Scott Feldman. Miller has walked his first 2 times up tonight. So 2 walks for Miller, which is impressive in a number of ways. For one, Feldman entered tonight having walked only 3 batters over his first 4 starts, and Miller has grabbed 2 walks. So for a team in the Mariners that has struggled in this early month of April getting on base in terms of the club's overall on base percentage, which is near the bottom in the American League, that's back-to-back nights now where the Mariners have had a man reach twice on a pair of walks. We saw Zunino do it last night. 1-2 on Brad.
Yeah, in fact, Ricky Weeks walked 3 times in last night's ball game.
It's good to see. Good point. Two balls and 2 strikes. We were talking about the success the Mariners have had here in Houston. It's been just the opposite. It's been the visiting team that has had the most success. The Astros 8-14 at Safeco Field since entering the division. So in this series, for whatever reason, it seems like you want to be the road team. Got a piece of Brad.
Feldman now at 91 pitches. His season high is 108. That was in his last start at Oakland. We'll take a look at Brad. I think this is the cutter. Hits it right off of his ankle.
Count stays 2 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs. Feldman has had just 1 clean inning so far tonight. That was back in the 3rd. It was a bunt single to start things, but then Jackson was caught stealing.
And a chance for Brad to work his 3rd walk of the game. Full count.
It's been a fine month of April for Miller. Payoff pitch. Hammered right field. Springer able to make the catch. Miller is now number 3 as the Mariners are retired in order. On to the bottom of the 6th. Mariners by 1. Well, that's fantastic news, Angie. Thank you for that update. Holtzman has such a bright future ahead of him, Mike, and we know Lloyd McClendon is very high on Danny, as everyone in the organization is, but it's nice to see him progressing very well, and we had a chance to see him briefly in Cactus League play for 1 inning.
Well, it's a long road back, and he's put in a lot of hard work to be able to get back and get on the mound, so that is great news. It was great to see him in spring training, and as Andy was talking about, he could barely catch his breath, and it was funny talking to him afterwards. He was just excited that it was over and that everything was fine, so good for him.
Of course, the first batter that Danny faced was Troy Tulowitzki of the Rockies. He hadn't pitched in an actual game in about 18 months, if not more than that. And not much of a soft landing. Here comes one of the best hitters in the National League, but it was a good inning for Danny. 2-2 to Valbuena. Full count. And Lloyd was very insistent that they wanted to get Holtzman in a Cactus League game for an inning before being sent down to minor league camp, because, as Lloyd put it, and very deservedly so, Danny Holtzman deserved to pitch in the Cactus League.
Well, I agree. And he, I don't want to lose the leadoff hitter, but misses with that last pitch. It looked like it was a cut fastball off the plate away. No, I agree with all of that. And then Danny went down and picked up his work from there in the minor league camp. And it's nice to hear that he's going to get another start here coming up soon.
That's great news. Just the second walk tonight from Paxton.
Well, he's in good shape with his pitch count. 80 pitches for James so far.
In steps Springer, 0 for 2, a couple of ground ball outs. Showing bunt and a strike. Springer, a former high first-round draft pick of the Astros. And you can begin to see what Houston has been doing in terms of building through the draft in recent years. Springer, you had a chance to see him last year before his season was cut off early because of a lower body injury. But he has an impressive future, no doubt. He has what many scouts will say is elite bat speed, and they've really tried to slow down his bat speed starting mentally by trying to tell him to swing at about 50%, hoping that that will result in about an 85% swing. Ball and 2 strikes.
Oh, we saw him last year when he first came, and he was swinging at everything and almost falling down. That's how hard he was swinging, and just striking out a lot. I give him credit for hanging in there, because then all of a sudden he ended up getting hot, and you could see all the potential they were talking about as he was hitting home runs on a nightly basis.
He hit a home run off the Metal Supply Building in San Diego on the recent road trip, and you don't see that happen often at all, but he has some tremendous power. Fast on the base paths as well. 2-2. But you just don't see too many players with the speed and power combination of Springer. Just a matter of making contact more often. Jammed him. A rainbow right field. Drops in. Valbuena on to third. Springer to second. To throw that way, and it's not close. Now, right on cue as we were talking about it, Springer forces the issue.
That's a little inside-out swing on a fastball. He gets jammed 95 miles an hour, fights it off into right field. It looked as if Seth Smith had a chance to throw Valbuena out at third. He has a strong throwing arm, but it was offline. You can see how far Kyle had to come off the bag, and Springer never stopped running. He works his way around to second, so a tough situation now for James Paxton, trying to hang on to this 1-run lead. Nobody out. And with nobody out, Lloyd McClendon is going to play his infield back, so he'll give up a run for an out in this situation. Doesn't want to give up 2.
Now, Paxton has danced for the man at third base a number of times tonight. Twice in the first, once in the second and third inning as well. Gaddis batting just 174 on the season. But some tremendous power, as we saw last year in interleague play when the Mariners saw Gaddis for 2 brief games in Atlanta when he suited up for the Braves. One and one.
And another great play by Zunino behind the plate. That was not an easy play. It looked like a breaking ball that landed out in front of home plate. It's always dangerous because as a catcher, it's easier to block it if it's closer to you. And Mike is so good. Ended up catching it.
Seager on to first base. And this game is all tied up. Valbuena's leadoff walk comes all the way around to score, and we are even at 2. Well, time now for our Geico This Date in Big League History. What a day it was for Willie Mays. 4 home runs against the Braves in a rout. And at the time, and overall actually, just the 9th to do that. 4 home runs in one game. The last guy to do that, by the way, 2012, it was Josh Hamilton at Camden Yards, who homered 4 times. But it has not happened many times overall in the history of our game. Mike Cameron in 2002, in May of 2002 against the White Sox. That was in a 15-4 win. That was a fun day for the Mariners. First pitch strike to Carter.
This next pitch will be 90 for Paxton, and nobody throwing in the Mariner pen.
It's been a rough night tonight for the Astros with runners in scoring position. They are 0 for 9. And yet this game is tied at 2. They have picked up runs on 2 ground ball outs, both off the bat of Evan Gaddis. So doing just enough to hang in this one. That was the first run scored by either side since the first inning. Strike three called. James Paxton curveball has danced all throughout the strike zone tonight and has really baffled a number of these Astros hitters.
After 3 fastballs at 95, he is able to come back with the curveball and throw it for a strike. Astros now 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. That's a big pitch from Paxton to get the strikeout. Now he'll face the left-handed hitting Castro. Castro 1 for 2 tonight. He had a base hit his first time up. Paxton able to strike him out in the 4th.
Center field struck well, but Jackson is there. It's been a pretty quiet night in center field for Austin Jackson for the most part. That'll put a wrap on 6 innings. The Astros even this one up. We're tied at 2. Sports is brought to you by AM/PM. Too much good stuff. Buy steel. To find your local steel dealer, visit steeldealer.com. And by Clearwater Casino Resort. So many reasons to come out and play. A look out west. Happy to have you with us tonight. Mariners opening up this 4-game series here inside Minute Maid Park after a clean sweep against the Texas Rangers. Feldman back out to work the 7th, facing Dustin Ackley. And Mike, how about that? We were both equally surprised to find out that that was the Mariners' first sweep in Arlington of at least 3 games since 2002.
That's hard to believe, isn't it?
Tough place to play.
It is, and if you think about it, the 3 games, they were close games again, and low-scoring games. And that's unusual for Arlington. Usually you have a game where you have to score 8, 9 runs to win a game.
The arena football time.
Yeah, that didn't happen, though.
2-1 to Ackley, leading off the 7th. Well, close games have been a thing of the norm for the Mariners so far this year. 17 consecutive games decided by 3 runs or fewer. That's the most in franchise history. Routine pop-up. Gonzalez wants to make sure Grossman stays out of his way. 1 out. Well, bring the family out to the ballpark on select weeknights and enjoy big savings with the Safeco Insurance Grand Slam Family Package. Receive a ticket, a hot dog, and a Pepsi at a special package value price. The next event is on a Wednesday, May 13th against the Padres. Just go to Mariners.com to pick up your tickets tonight.
Veteran left-hander Joe Thatcher getting loose in the pen for the Astros. Sidearm lefty.
You can see Feldman nearing 100 pitches. To center field, Marisnik, out number 2. Now, so far this inning, saving Feldman a little bit in terms of the pitch count. Only 5 for 2 outs.
There's a look at Joe.
Feldman tonight making his 5th start of the season. And he's matched his highest innings total at 6 2/3. Has done that twice. His first start and then his most recent start against the A's when he picked up the win. First pitch of ball to Seth Smith. As Mike mentioned earlier, Feldman has gone past the century mark so far this year. 108 pitches, his season high, his last start. And there's that slow curve that Jason Bay was talking about, 1-1. They shift for Seth Smith. Chopper right into the teeth of that shift. It's Carter. The long skee ball toss to Feldman. And that'll do it for the Mariners. Retired in order each of the last 2 innings. Quick frame there for Feldman. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Time to stretch in Houston. How about stretching your mind as you consider how a Washington's lottery win would change your bucket list? Play today. Glad you joined us here tonight from Minute Maid Park. Aaron Goldsmith, Mike Flowers. A very pleasant evening. Jake Marisnick to lead things off in the bottom of the 7th for the Astros. James Paxton back up on the mound.
This will probably be his last inning. He's at 93 pitches. In his last outing, he threw 106 pitches. Only able to go 4 2/3. 3 errors that were behind him ended up costing him a number of pitches. That hasn't been the case tonight. He's really throwing the ball well. It's topped out at 97 miles an hour. Has had a really good curveball, mixing in his changeup and cutter.
Ball 1 to Marisnick to lead off the 7th. When the Mariners last saw the Astros, Marisnick was batting 9th, but he's really heated up. Tough play for Miller, and he is able to make it easily. Marisnick out number 1.
This is a really good play by Brad Miller. One, I wasn't sure he was going to be able to get to it. And then when you're moving that fast towards the outfield, it's hard to stop quickly enough. And he does an excellent job of getting his shoulder squared up towards first so that he can make an accurate throw. He has a strong throwing arm. But take the time. He knows the runner can get down the line of Marisnick, and a perfect throw to first. Good play by Brad.
Lloyd was talking today about Miller. We saw a couple of errors in Texas. We've seen some throws that, well, sometimes they've been offline, they've been errors. Other times they've been low, and Lomo has done a fine job picking them at first base. And Lloyd made it sound like for Brad it's nothing mental. It's just footwork and trying to get just more consistent with that, of course. Another long throw here. And Miller and Seager make it look pretty easy.
Well, it is footwork most of the time. And if you don't get your feet back around, it's tough to square your shoulders up. We talked about Kyle earlier in the game. Kyle is excellent at it. And I think for Brad, it's really that simple for him. I think at times, especially when he has time, take that extra crow hop, take that extra step, and then cut it loose. Yeah, he has all the tools to play the position, and at times, and it's typical of young players, they all go through it at times. But that was a fine play that he just made.
What people need to know about Brad Miller, he takes an extreme level of pride in being a shortstop. This is a guy, Mike, we remember his rookie season. He would wear his glove in a bag hanging from around his neck in and out of the ballpark on getaway day. I mean, that's how much he cared for his glove. He brought it with him everywhere he went. Wouldn't put it with the rest of his equipment. This is somebody who really loves playing the position and wants to excel there.
Yeah, it's important to him, and the thing that you have to feel good about is Chris Woodward is one of the best in the business. I've talked to Chris a number of times about the infielders and the things that they work on, and if it's as simple as footwork, he will get that straightened out with Brad.
Full count. Paxton tonight, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. In his last start, he fanned 7 Minnesota Twins hitters. That was the season high. So a punch out away from tying that mark. And he does! Oh, buckled the knees. We've seen some jelly knees tonight by Astros hitters. Looked like that time the changeup from James Paxton. 7 strikeouts. We go to the 8th. What a night for Paxton. All right, Angie, thank you so much. We've got a pitching change, Mike, here in Houston. A nice start by Scott Feldman, and now it's up to Chad Qualls.
This will be his 10th appearance on the year. This has been a really strong point for this Astros club is their bullpen. They pitched well here early in the season, this first month.
Now, the only bullpens that have been better in the American League, the Royals, which, my goodness, if you look at the numbers that the Royals bullpen is putting up, it's like they're pitching in spring training still. It's incredible. They've hardly given up an earned run. As you can see the numbers tonight from Scott Feldman, just over 100 pitches. Those 2 runs both coming in the first.
Good opportunity. Sorry, Aaron. A good opportunity for the Mariners right here. You have Jackson, Cano, and Cruz due up in this inning.
Teeth of the order for the Mariners.
And Carson Smith getting loose in the Mariner pen. Paxton now over 100 pitches.
That's a season high, by the way, for Paxton in terms of innings pitched. We've seen him this year go 6 2/3, or pardon me, 6 1/3, a season high. That was his second start against the Dodgers. But his last 2 starts, Paxton has not been able to make it through the 5th. So very much a step in the right direction. Opposite way, Altuve can't get there on a dive. And Jackson, in a tied game, sets the table for the Mariners in the 8th.
His second base hit of the ball game. And as you're here in the 8th, you have the middle of your lineup coming up now. So excellent job by Jackson. Going the other way. This is a pitch that's just off the outside corner. And he hits it hard into right field, able to get it past Altuve, the second baseman. That'll bring up Cano. Cano already 2 for 3 in this one this evening.
Single in the 1st, another single last time in the 5th. First time the Mariners have had a leadoff man reach since Austin Jackson's bunt base hit in the 3rd.
And we saw Joe Thatcher up the lefty sidearm lefty for the Astros earlier. And now it'll be their other lefty. They have 2 lefties in the pen, and that's Tony Sipp, veteran left-hander.
Boy, Sipp is very tough on lefties. Qualls has not allowed an earned run in his last 4 outings. In fact, all 3 of the runs that Qualls has coughed up this year came in one performance against the Angels in the middle of the month. There goes Jackson. Pitch inside, throw to second, and he's safe. Jackson was caught stealing back in the 3rd, but this time he reaches safely his 3rd swipe of the season.
He is really having a good game. I shortchanged him in this one. He has 3 hits tonight, and now a stolen base. Pretty good jump. Almost a little bit of a delayed steal. He didn't take off right away. Took that first step and then slowed down, almost a stutter step, and then decided to go.
1 ball, then 1 strike to Cano.
We'll see if Robbie can get a pitch that he can pull to the right side. Hopefully get a base hit, but if he makes an out, move that runner up. You can see the Mariners 4 for 8 with runners in scoring position this evening, and the Astros 0 for 11.
Right back, snared there by Qualls. Out number 1. Well, kids are going to want to be at Safeco Field on Sunday, May 10th for Robinson Cano Wristband Day, courtesy of Aquafina. All kids in attendance for the Mariners Oakland A's game on the 10th of May will take home a pair of these Robinson Cano wristbands. For tickets, visit mariners.com. You know, Mike, getting back to a point you just made a minute or 2 ago on the delayed steal by Austin Jackson. People listening would hear delayed steal and they might think, well, delayed, don't you just want to get there as fast as you can? What is the reason for a delayed steal?
Well, you're hoping to catch him napping a little bit. Typically, they're going to be alert, and if they see the runner break right away, then they think that something's happening. But if you come off casually and not take off right away and then run, you're hoping to catch somebody sleeping, whether it's the catcher or the middle infielder that's supposed to cover the bag. So, and it works. It works more than you think. You wouldn't think it would work as well at the major league level, but guys get away with it now more than you would think. And that wasn't a typical one. I wonder if maybe he felt that he didn't get a real good jump and then just decided to go, because typically you get a couple of chop steps off the bag and then run. But that is not what Jackson did. Just a little bit of a hesitation.
Big RBI chance here for Cruz, but he's behind 0-2. Go ahead run with speed and Austin Jackson at second base. The single to right, then the steal of second. Cruz looking for his first hit in this one. Remember, Qualls has given up a run in only 1 of his 9 appearances this year. So this is a tough customer. Longtime big league pitcher, his 12th season now, is second with the Astros. Or should I say second back with the Astros. He began his career in Houston, 04 to 07, then went on to Arizona. A couple of other teams too. They shift for Cruz. 3 on the left side. The opposite way. A lot of hang time. And a foul ball. We don't see many teams shift for Nelson Cruz. If you look at his spray chart, he is all over the field. We have seen him how many times?
A number of times.
RBIs down the first base line.
Well, yeah, grounders to the right side to pick up some RBIs. In fact, he's hitting .364 with runners in scoring position. It's because he uses the entire field. You rarely see the shift with a right-handed hitter.
Especially a guy that uses the whole field like Cruz. The 0-2. Check swing. He goes around. And Nelson down on strikes. 2 outs. Well, time for the Big Fish Casino Big Catch. And Mike, defensively, what a night it's been for Mariners third baseman, the Gold Glover, Kyle Seager.
Well, he's been fairly busy as he comes in on this ball chopper. And he makes it look easy, but you watch how quickly he's able to get rid of the ball all the time. Accurate throws from Kyle. But with Paxton on the mound, he's had a little bit of a workout. And he's been perfect, which is good to see.
Well, Cruz, the last batter that Chad Qualls faces tonight. We've got a pitching change with Kyle Seager due up. We step aside, 2 outs. Go ahead run at second base here in Houston. Austin Jackson, a leadoff single. He stole second base, so he's in scoring position. And now Kyle Seager will have to face a tough lefty in Tony Sipp.
He has really pitched well in 10 1/3, 8 strikeouts, 3 walks. Opponents hitting just 114 against him, and you can see his ERA. Sipp with a 2-0 record. Good fastball. He also mixed in a curveball and a slider.
So A.J. Hinch calls on the lefty to face left-handed hitting Kyle Seager. 1 for 3 tonight, an RBI single in the first. There with the breaking ball. Sipp historically, for as tough as he has been on lefties, he's actually been even slightly harder on righties, and basically the same number of at-bats, plate appearances over the course of his career. Left-handers lifetime batting just .209 against the southpaw Sipp. Righties just beneath 200. There goes Jackson at third base. Good pitch to run on. That was in the dirt. And Jackson stands up at third.
His second stolen base of the game. And you may not think much about it because there are 2 outs and he was already in scoring position. But Sipp, who has a hard breaking ball, if he throws one in the dirt and it gets away from Castro, the catcher, he can score now. And if you're not going to pay attention to him, why not? Why not take the base?
So things 90 feet easier. 2 balls and a strike.
Come on.
Mike mentioned the good numbers tonight as A.J. Hinch looks on from Mariners hitters with runners in scoring position. 3 of those 4 hits tonight by the Mariners with the man at second or third, have not left the infield. 2-1 hammered. Watch out, Chris Woodward. Some friendly fire. And that's coming from one of his best pupils, no less.
And that's why he's wearing the helmet.
That's very, very true. Two balls, two strikes to Seager. Jackson at third base. The go-ahead run late in this game tonight. Mariners have not scored since the first. Still 2-2. Last year, Sip was released by the Padres, then gobbled up by the Astros in an ailing bullpen, and he has been one of the many ingredients to this year's bullpen, which has been the third best in the American League. Far cry from recent seasons. Sip's 2-2. Rolled over, 2-out Tuve. And that'll be all she wrote for the Mariners in the eighth. Jackson stranded at third base. We go to the bottom of the eighth inning. We are still all even at 2. Sports is brought to you by Money Tree, proud to make a donation to Mariners Care for every Mariners win. By Jack in the Box, Jack's hottest sandwich is back. Head to Jack in the Box for Jack's Blazing Chicken Sandwich. By CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. What a nice night it was, Mike, for James Paxton. 7 innings. Only 2 runs, 7 strikeouts.
I thought it was his best outing of the year. Everything was working for him. He had a really good curveball tonight. It was all set up by the good fastball. His fastball 95 to 97 miles an hour. Also mixed in his changeup. A few cutters, but it was his curveball. Put a lot of hitters away tonight. Able to throw his fastball and his curveball for strikes, which was the key. His curveball especially. He's been bouncing his curveball quite a bit, but able to throw for strikes tonight. It was an effective pitch. As we take a look at his line, 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs. They were earned. A couple of walks. They have 7 strikeouts through 103 pitches.
Yeah, for Paxton, only 1 of those hits for extra bases. That was an Altuve double in the third. The best start of the season for James Paxton, which has just continued a trend lately. As we take a look now at Carson Smith. First pitch, a strike to Altuve.
Carson has been outstanding out of the pen. 9 innings pitched, 11 strikeouts, 3 walks. He hasn't given up an earned run. Opponents hitting just 0.97 against the hard throwing right hander. His fastball will be in the mid to low 90s with a hard slider.
Tough play. Seager midway to second for out number 1. Now the night just continues defensively, Mike, for Kyle Seager.
He's been busy, and it was critical to get Altuve, because he would not have been standing at first long if he was able to get to first base on this play. Kyle making the right decision, cutting across in front of Brad Miller. Anytime as a third baseman you can get to it, makes it an easier play. Kyle showing some range.
So 1 out on 2 pitches, now facing Valbuena, a left-handed hitter. Carson Smith makes his home here in Houston. Of course, he's a Texan through and through. Was born in Dallas. And then moved to Midland, Texas, in West Texas when he was just about 4 or 5 years old. So home for Carson really growing up was in Midland, the Permian Basin, the home of Friday Night Lights. But now coming here to Houston, not because of really family or personal reasons, but because of baseball more than anything else. Valbuena, a topper to first. Lomo bends to the waist, and it's out number 2. 2 up, 2 down. Follow the Mariners all season with MLB.com. At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, and more. Get MLB.com At Bat for your smartphone or tablet. 2 up, 2 down for Carson Smith, now facing George Springer.
And with Springer, the outfielders are all playing in front of the warning track. Kyle Seager right on the line at third base. Just trying to take the double away with 2 outs. See how deep Ackley is, right in front of the warning track. Kyle on the line.
Smith ahead. Smith moved here to Houston because he trains with some friends of his in the game at Fairchild Sports Performance, which is a training facility here in the Houston area, not all that far from Minute Maid Park. Weak ground ball, tough play, a scoop by Cano, in time for the out. 1, 2, 3. The Astros go down in order, and a couple of defensive gems by the Mariners helping out young Carson Smith here in his hometown. We're off to the ninth in Houston, all tied at 2. Always good to have Bradley on the road trips with us. Hasn't made many here to Houston, so good to have Brad here in Texas as Logan Morrison leads things off in the top of the ninth. All tied up 2 apiece. Tony Sipp out after closing off the 8th inning. And Mike Carson Smith, if we go back to that bottom of the 8th, a 1-2-3 inning, all 3 ground ball outs. Got some help from his defense. And for Smith, he has yet to allow a run in the big leagues since being called up. That's now 19 games, 19 appearances out of the Mariners bullpen without allowing a run. And that is a club record. In fact, he set the club record before even making his appearance here tonight for most appearances without allowing a run after making your big league debut.
He's keeping his manager happy. That's
Very
what he's
much
doing, Aaron.
The previous record was first 13 appearances without allowing a run by Mark Lowe. And then also Tim Davis, Lowe in 06, Davis in 94. Club record for consecutive scoreless innings to open up a career. Ball and 2 strikes to Lomo. Hard hit and through. Logan Morrison's first hit tonight, following up that 4-hit performance last night. Quickly puts things in reverse.
So a good at bat from Logan. We talked about the 4 hits he had yesterday, and I wanted to see him check in again this evening, and here he goes. Solid base hit off the left-hander, 1 for 4 night for Logan Morrison. Able to turn that fastball around. And we'll see how Lloyd wants to play it. If he wants Brad Miller to swing it or bunt. Ackley waiting on deck.
Despite all of Logan's tough luck this year, he's actually hit well against lefties.
Balbuena right on top of Brad. Third baseman crashing early. Sacrifice situation with the runner at first. Brad, you can see he's look like he's trying to butt the ball towards the first baseman, and that's what you want to do. Balbuena right on top of him. He can creep in there again. Maybe Lloyd takes it off and lets Brad swing away with Balbuena so close to him. The left side of the infield is open.
Miller taking some direction from Rich Donnelly down to third base. Lloyd looking on. 1-1. Big spot here in the 9th inning. Mariners get the leadoff man to reach in Logan Morrison. And he represents the go-ahead run. Miller already showing bunt. Drops it down. Sipp. A look to second quickly, but to Altuve at first. And Miller does his job.
Yeah, well done. Had to bunt it towards the first baseman with Balbuena crashing on him, and he was able to get the job done. The thing that I like with Brad is he squares around early. It's a sacrifice. Give yourself up. Get the barrel out in front of home plate.
So high fives all around for Brad Miller.
That'll bring it back. He's 1 for 3. Had a solid base hit in the left field his second time up a line drive base hit.
Chance to bring home the go-ahead run. Logan Morrison at second. Just out of the grasp of Castro. He can't find it. And Logan Morrison claps his hands at third base.
What a huge play. Now Ackley needs to put the ball in play. Hopefully get a pitch up where he can hit a fly ball. This will be a pass ball. And it should be. Breaking ball. He just missed it. And then he couldn't find it. It's right behind the umpire. And Logan paying attention. Takes off right away. Once there was some hesitation from Castro, Logan takes off. Brent Strom, the pitching coach, making a trip out to the mound.
He'll be joined by the entire infield. Dominic Leone beginning to stir a little bit in the Mariners bullpen. And Mike, with one out for Ackley and now a runner at third, that changes the complexion of this at bat, doesn't it?
Well, it really does. We'll see. They have to play their infield in, so I'm thinking Dustin's going to look for a pitch that's elevated in the zone if he can. He's ahead in the count 1-0, so he doesn't have to swing it a ball that is down. Look for a pitch up, see if he can hit something in the air. He's done such a good job of hitting the ball the other way. He can let it travel a little bit.
Facing a tough lefty in Sip.
And they will bring their infield in. No surprise there. Zunino waiting on deck.
Lomo, the go-ahead run in the 9th inning against the hottest team in baseball. Strike one.
You see our EQC tracer. That was an elevated fastball up out over the plate.
Infield in, Logan at third. And Ackley now with 2 strikes against him. Ackley a single to left field back in the 4th. 1 for 3 tonight. Does not need a hit to bring home the go-ahead run in Logan Morrison. Just needs it high and deep enough. Stays alive.
A couple of good breaking balls from Sip. You can see our EQC tracer in the location. They are down. He's trying to keep the ball on the ground and away from Dustin.
Sip's taking some time. It was Morrison who led off this 9th inning with a 2-strike single, and then moved to second base on the sac bunt by Miller, perfectly placed. And then a pass ball, but Morrison at third, where he stands right now. The 1-2. And Ackley down on strikes.
Well, A.J. Hinch quickly out of the dugout with Zunino do, but we'll take a look after a couple of good breaking balls. He's keeping the ball down. 80-mile-an-hour breaking ball. 3 in a row.
So that'll be it for Sip. We'll step aside. Logan Morrison still dangling out there at third base with 2 outs. And what a difference a year can make. If this was this time last year, you'd feel pretty good and a close game facing an Astros bullpen which really scuffled, but this year not quite the same. Qualls and Sip have both been good, and now a tough one in Neshek.
Neshek, he has struggled a little bit. A 5.40 ERA. He has 10 strikeouts in 8 1/3. He has yet to walk anybody. Opponents hitting .250, and he's given up 3 home runs this year.
And what does that delivery look like for a right-handed hitter?
It's difficult, and that's what A.J. Hinch, the manager, was saving him for, just the right-handed batter.
Interestingly, all 3 home runs have come against right-handed hitters. But he's quickly got Zunino behind 0-2. Neshek, an all-star last year with the Cardinals. The Astros, his 3rd team in as many years, was with the A's for a while. Go-ahead run at 3rd. And a weak pop-up. Altuve's got all kinds of time. And that's it. Top of the 9th inning comes to a close for the Mariners. Morrison stranded at 3rd, and the Astros have a chance to walk out for the win. Astros all tied up 2 apiece, although the Mariners have twice as many hits. As we look ahead now to the next 3 games in this series, you can see Elias will be making his 2nd start of the season, and then Taijuan Walker. And it seems like, well, who else would Taijuan Walker pitch against than the Houston Astros? Seems like he gets him every single time out. Then Jay Happ and Mike, we've talked at length about Happ. He has been just phenomenal for the first month of his Mariners career.
No, he's been terrific, and for Taijuan Walker, he's also going to get Colin McEwen with the way Walker pitching his last outing. That could be a low-scoring, fast game.
That'll be a beauty.
Yeah.
McHugh has been outstanding. We've talked about it before. He and Dallas Keuchel, a tough one, too. And here's Dominic Leone.
Dominic, his 7th appearance on the year. In 7 innings, he has 3 strikeouts. He's walked 5. Want to stay away from the walks right here. Opponents hitting just 192 against him. He will get the middle of the order. It'll be Gaddis, Carter, and Castro due up.
Gaddis, and this is just the way that this game has gone. It's been an awfully interesting one. Gaddis has driven in both runs tonight, but he is 0 for 3, as you can see right there. 2 ground ball outs. Big whiff and a miss. Look at that. Breaking ball from Leone to start things off to Gaddis. Gaddis, a pretty free swinger. Struck out on a Paxton curveball to end the 3rd. And he's quickly behind 0-2. The 0-2, and it's low. Last time we saw Leone, it was just a few days ago in Texas. It was the first time this year that he did not record an out. Gave up a single to Elvis Andrus. And then that was all. Through just 3 pitches. Weak chopper, tough play. Seager, can he continue his brilliance tonight? And he does. What a night it has been at third base for Kyle Seager.
And even a more difficult play. He's playing back because it's the cleanup hitter, and Gaddis can get down the line in good shape. But you can see Kyle timing everything perfectly on that ground ball. Watch him tap his glove right when he's getting ready to field it. And then he slows down just a little bit. That's to get his feet right. As soon as that right foot touches the ground, the ball is on its way to first. Excellent play by Kyle.
Boy, that is pretty. Check swing, goes around. Chris Carter, strike 1. Carter, a strikeout victim his last 2 times up. Both packs and curves. Astros have not had a walk-off win this year. Behind 1-2. Well, we mentioned it at the top of the broadcast. This was setting up to be the most intriguing series the Mariners have ever played against the Astros. The Astros very relevant, seemingly out of nowhere. A little low. And so far, Mike, this game has been an awfully fun one, if not frustrating at times for both sides.
Well, the Mariners, obviously, they have a good pitching staff, and the Astros a much improved staff, especially here early in the season.
Strike 3, gets him swinging at some gas. Dominic Leone, his first strikeout tonight, and a big one.
Good fastball, 93 miles an hour. The best part about it is location. They try to keep the ball away from Carter, and he's able to do it right on the outside corner. Carter with 37 home runs last year. Important to keep the ball away from the big man.
And the only man who had more home runs is in the Mariners dugout, Nelson Cruz. And steps Castro. Mike, you mentioned fastball command on that punch out on the heater, and that has been the name of the game for Leone. When he is right, he has that going.
Well, he struggled in spring training with it, but as you mentioned, his last few outings, he's been much better.
And he has Castro against the ropes at 0-2. Lloyd hoping this one gets to the 10th. Leone's 0-2, and it's buried. Dominic, a starter in college at Clemson, of course, a former teammate there with Brad Miller, who had just a phenomenal college career, the ACC Player of the Year. But Dominic, a Friday night starter there for Clemson, then moved to the bullpen in pro ball and has excelled. Off the hands, it's still 1-2. Astros have the tying run, make it the winning run at the plate with some pop in Castro. 1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the count pushes full to Castro. Marisnick would be next. Don't let the 200 average from Jason Castro fool you. He's had some hard outs this year. Payoff pitch and a weak roller right there to Cano. And we are off to the 10th. Extra innings in game 1 against the 14-7 Houston Astros. Stay with us. All tied at 2.
bummer, but yeah, once you find one that you really like, you're going to stay with it. So these guys typically hang on to them.
All right, Angie. Boy, I remember that. I forgot that it was Jason's glove, though. But you're right. J-Bay did get some good pub after that one.
Does he get half the credit, you think?
Maybe a quarter.
Quarter? All right.
That was a tremendous catch by Ackley. So Luke Gregerson, the Astros' new closer, is on to pitch the 10th. The Mariners are playing in their major league leading 5th extra inning contest already in the first month of the season. Mariners 2-2 in bonus baseball. The Astros 2-0. This is their third.
Well, the Astros have the shift on with Smith hitting. Gregerson, heavy sinker, good slider.
And historically, Gregerson has been death to the Mariners. This is his 20th appearance lifetime against Seattle, and he's allowed 1 earned run in just about 19 innings for an ERA beneath half a run.
That just means he's due.
I like that.
Top of the order for the Mariners.
Ball and 2 strikes now to Smith. And of course, Gregerson for a number of years was just an incredible setup man. He holds the all-time single season holds record. That was 40 back in 2010 with the Padres. A tremendous slider. Gregerson last year was acquired from San Diego for the man that he's facing at the plate right now, Seth Smith. These two were traded for one another. Smith went from Oakland to the Padres. And then, of course, was traded to the Mariners for Brandon Maurer. And interesting how the web of trades work. The man in the dugout right now, the first-year skipper, A.J. Hinch, was the interim general manager for the Padres, whom Jack Sorenzik traded Maurer for Smith. As Hinch has had almost every job in the game, and he's barely about 40 years old. Hinch also traded Houston Street, a fantastic closer for the Padres, over to the Angels. And of course now taking over for Bo Porter at the helm of the Astros. The 1-2 to Smith. And just checks a swing foul.
We've seen this from Seth. He will put up a fight. 7 pitches so far in the at bat, and he's still in a 1-2 count. And Gregerson keeping everything down at the bottom of the strike zone.
Setup man for Houston Street for so many years. That's when he set the holds record with the Padres. All-time holds record. Line drive, skipper, and through. Mariners put the go-ahead run on at first base. Seth Smith, his second hit tonight.
And we're going to have a pinch runner. Ruggiano is going to pinch run for Smith. What a good at-bat. On the 8th pitch of the at-bat, after fouling off a number of pitches down in the zone, he gets a fastball in the middle of the plate and hits it hard enough to get it through the shift. Justin Ruggiano will come on and pinch run. Jackson can handle the bat. We'll see if Lloyd wants him to bunt right here. Jackson having a really good night. He has 3 hits, 3 for 4 with a couple of stolen bases. He's also scored a run.
And this has been one of the best offensive games so far this season for Austin Jackson.
Valbuena at third, really getting in there close.
Tries to bunt, but a strike. Now, the Mariners has done a nice job overall tonight putting the leadoff man aboard. We saw it the first 3 innings, and now the last 3. Jackson bracing, ready, pops it, diving catch made. Can't double him up. What a catch there by Carter.
Well, you want to bunt it towards the first baseman because he has to hold the runner on, but he pops it up in the air. Carter known for hitting home runs.
Not so much for that.
No, and he catches it right in the heel of his glove and was able to hang on to it. Most of the time when you do that and you hit the ground, it'll pop out, but good play for Carter.
One out, Ruggiano at first base. Cano a 2-hit night, 2 for 4. Skipper right back to Gregerson. Second base for 1, on to first. And that ends the top of the 10th. We go to the home half. We are all tied up at 2. Take a look at our Delta standings around the American League West, and we know one thing: the Astros have been on fire. They've won 10 of their last 11, 14-7 overall, and this road trip, Mike, is a prime chance for the Mariners to gain some ground. All games being played in the division. The Angels will be next.
And it's the two teams that are ahead of them. 4 games with the Astros, including this one, and then they go to Anaheim for 3. They have a chance to do some damage. Ruggiano will stay in the game and take over in right field. He came on as a pinch runner for Seth Smith.
Leone on for his second inning of work. Marisnick, a player the Astros very high on. And he really helps to sum up a team, Mike, that is far more athletic than maybe people are giving the Astros credit for. Skinner to Miller. 2 pitches, 1 out. But you look up and down this lineup card for the Astros, a lot of guys who can run, some tremendous athletes. Even Chris Carter, the biggest guy in the field. We saw him make that fine play.
No, you're right, and that's the reason why A.J. Hinch has turned him loose on the bases. Trying to take advantage of that athleticism.
The Astros have just not gotten the ball out of the infield tonight. 34 Astros have come to the plate, and 6 have hit the ball out of the infield. 3 of the last 28. James Paxton tonight was fantastic. His best start of the season. 2 runs over 7 innings. Hard hit ground ball, a fair ball inside the line. Lomo can't believe it. Lomo is having a conversation there as that ball's all the way in right field. Tag applied, and he is safe.
As you would expect, you're playing on the line, trying to take the double away with the left-handed hitter. Lomo was right there. It was just a step for him, and he thought that ball was foul.
Let's take a look. Well, Logan was adamant that that was a foul ball.
Yeah, Larry Vanover, the umpire. You can see how close he is to the line. And Larry Vanover must have thought that it went over the bag. It doesn't matter that it's on that side of the line. If it goes over the base, it's a fair ball. So it was tough to tell from that angle. Boy, McClendon looking on, but Lomo thought it was foul.
And you have to dig through the file cabinet. Not sure that that's a challengeable call, and it is not. There are some bylaws there. Insufficient camera coverage. You'd have to have a camera looking directly down the line. Or on top of the bag, rather. So you cannot challenge what turns out to be a double by Marwin Gonzalez with 1 out.
In the meantime, Colby Rasmus is going to pinch hit for Grossman, the number 9 hitter. The Astros tonight 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position.
And that has been a strength of theirs during this 11-game span where they've won 10. They've hit .280 with runners in scoring position in their last 11 games.
It's important to get this batter out. You have Altuve waiting on deck. I don't know that Lloyd wants to pitch to him. You have first base open right now. Charlie Furbush getting loose in the pen quickly.
Rasmus homered in yesterday's game against the Padres. That was his 4th on the season. Coming off the bench cold to face Leon. 1 out, winning run. Gonzalez at second. 3-0. And a strike.
You have Valbuena, the left-handed hitter, behind Altuve. That's who Charlie's getting loose for.
Walked him. 1 out walk. Gonzalez at second. Now Rasmus at first. And things get awfully tough.
Now you have no choice. Now you have to pitch to him. Altuve coming into the game with 355. And it's 2 for 4 in this one with a run scored. It's also doubled.
Nine-game hitting streak for Altuve. 8 straight games with at least 2 hits. Best since Billy Hatcher. The game is on the line here for Leon. And Zunino wants to have a quick talk.
And Lloyd making a trip out to the mound. He wants to have a conversation with Leon.
He'll be met by the infield. The Mariners grabbed both of their runs in the first inning. Nothing since. The Astros 1 run in the first, a run in the 6th. All tied up at 2 in the 10th as Furbush continues to loosen up. He's got Trent Jewett on the phone.
Well, Charlie looks as if he's ready to go, and Valbuena, the left-handed hitter, waiting on deck.
Left field, and the Astros win it. Who else but Jose Altuve?
It's the only hit that they had with runners in scoring position. They end up 1 for 12, but they also win the ball game.
3-hit night for Altuve, who closes the month of April with an American League best 36 hits.
Well, We'll take a look at it. It was the walk before to Rasmus. I'm sure that Lloyd wanted to get him out so he didn't have to face this guy. And he gets a fastball middle in. You can see Mike set up away. Ball two-seamer ran right back over the middle of the plate. And he hits it hard down into the corner.
Well, Mike, tough one tonight. You get 7 tremendous innings from James Paxton. The starting pitching has clearly turned the corner for the Mariners, but the Mariners stranded some base runners and can't score a run since the first.
They had some opportunities. They had a couple of runners at third with less than 2 outs. They were not able to pick those runners up. That comes back to get you. Altuve, in fact, started the game off with a fly ball. Some communication problems. He ends up scoring a run. And then right there, I'm sure that Lloyd was not going to pitch to him if first base was open. Once you have to walk, you have to pitch to him, and he makes you pay.
Tough one here tonight. The Astros' first walk-off win of the season. They win it in 10. Mariners postgame presented by Delta Airlines starts right now with Angie and Jason Bay.
I know. I'm not going anywhere. Here it comes.